This may seem obvious, but to make the very best marmalade cake, you really need the very best marmalade. Trust me on this one, I know. I have made marmalade cake so many times with every kind of marmalade out there, and you know what? The better the marmalade, that is, the richer with orange peel, the more candied, the better the cake. You can tell if you've got good quality marmalade the second you open the jar. Just take a look. This is the good stuff. It's mostly peel, dark color, rich flavor. This one is the cheap stuff, and as you can see, it's just a little bit of peel floating in what is probably mostly corn syrup. It can be hard to find, so if you go to the supermarket, go to the international food section, because there you're gonna find good British marmalade made from Seville oranges, and that's what you want. So this is a butter cake, so obviously we have to have a lot of good unsalted butter. And then I'm gonna cream it with just sugar. I've got some orange zest, of course, and then a little lime zest just adds, I always say lime is floral, so a floral note. You always wanna start slow so that you don't end up beating this into your face. Once the butter is fluffy and it looks kind of like icing, actually, is what this looks like, you can add your eggs, one at a time. This is the place where you want to make sure that you continue beating until it's really smooth, because once I add the marmalade, it's going to look lumpy, and then I'm not going to know if I have a smooth batter or not. Add the marmalade and some fresh orange juice. That much looks good. You know, in England, they always use self-rising flour, which is basically flour with salt and baking powder mixed in, but I mixed it by hand because we don't use as much self-rising flour here in the States. Just until the flour disappears. You don't want to overbeat it. This is a very well-used pan, so I know it's not going to stick if I put enough butter. It's really good batter, and now I'm going to bake it at 350. So this is what the cake looks like when it comes out of the oven. It's golden brown. It looks a lot like a pound cake, and in fact, it tastes a lot like a citrus pound cake. Of course, I like an icing with mine just because it accentuates the marmaladiness of it. So I'm gonna do an icing with marmalade, confectioner sugar, and a little butter. See, marmalade is practically a glaze in and of itself, and then when you melt it, it becomes runny, and then it's gonna harden on the cake again. See those big pieces of peel? It's like eating a piece of orange candy. They're really good. And then just spread it all over the top while it's still warm. Then it will spread evenly and beautifully. There. Come on, candied orange. Once this stops dripping, I'm gonna give it a few minutes just to let the icing kind of run down, then I can move it onto my serving plate. Oh, that looks really nice. Of course, the perfect accompaniment to a British marmalade cake is a spot of afternoon tea. But you know what? Something stronger is good too. Cheers.